Manx Radio's Update with Lewis Foster.
Fastamai, good evening and welcome along once again to Update on Manx Radio. It's 5 o'clock on Wednesday, Hump Day. It's the 16th of April. Time for a half an hour of the latest news on and from the Isle of Man. On the programme tonight, we're talking tourism as the long-term target for visitor numbers looks set to be surpassed. We have an update from Manx Care regarding breast clinics, and we get the latest from the world of Manx football and cricket. All that and more. The latest weather forecast is coming up, and we'll tell you what to watch out for on the roads this evening. As always, let us know your thoughts. Text 166 177 or email studio@manxradio.com. First of all, let's take a look at the latest headlines with Siobhan Fletcher. Fastamai, Siobhan.
Fastamai. The island's breast clinics are to be reinstated from next week as Manx Care has secured a locum breast radiologist to assist the service. It's after the previous locum began an unplanned short-term absence on the 31st of March, which was expected to last for 4 weeks. The health service has confirmed patient lists are now being reviewed and the team will be calling patients to confirm that their referral has been received. Visit Isle of Man says it's on course and may even surpass its goal of attracting 500,000 visitors annually by 2032. Chief Executive Deborah Heather says they are seizing key opportunities to boost the visitor economy.
The island is pretty much undiscovered. That's been half the opportunity for us. It's a new place to come to.
A section of Newcastle Town Road is to temporarily close this evening between 6 p.m. and 11:55 p.m. It'll be shut to all traffic from its junction at Quarterbridge to the track entrance of the NSC, with a diversion available via Pulrose. FC Isle of Man manager Paul Jones will remain in charge of the team next season. The club says the decision follows talks with Jones and the board, as well as first-team players who the club says have indicated a unanimous vote of confidence in his leadership. And a new art project entitled 60 over 60 Faces of Man aims to celebrate Manx people who've made a lasting impact both at home and abroad. Deborah Tracy is leading the initiative.
There's lots of famous people out there, which is wonderful, but the Isle of Man, we have got so many incredible humans that walk amongst us.
Further afield, a court ruling that says transgender women are not legally women has been welcomed by the UK government, which says it gives clarity for hospitals, refuges and sports clubs. Author and campaigner J.K. Rowling says the decision protects the rights of women and girls across the UK, but trans groups fear it could have harmful implications. The World Trade Organization has warned US tariffs could lead to the heaviest financial slump since the COVID pandemic, and Google says it will challenge a £5 billion lawsuit in the UK over claims it abused its dominance in online advertising, leading to higher prices. They're your headlines. I'll have your news at 6.
Gurmayed. Thank you, Siobhan Fletcher. Now the weather brought to you by Manx Glass and Glazing. Cloudy with outbreaks of rain, potentially heavy at times, before turning light and patchy later in the day. Fresh to strong northeast winds will ease for a time this afternoon before settling to the west or northwest and strengthening again later. Top temperature only 9 degrees, rain will then clear overnight. Dry with sunny spells tomorrow, light to moderate westerly winds and top temperature of 12 degrees. And cloudy on Friday with outbreaks of rain for the afternoon, then largely clearing overnight into Saturday. Moderate to fresh east to southeasterly winds, increasing fresh to strong as the rain arrives. Maximum temperature around 12 degrees. Sunset tonight is at 22 minutes past 8 and sunrise tomorrow morning is at 13 minutes past 6.
Manx Glass and Glazing can supply and install single, double and triple glazing. Call 674 573 or visit the showroom on the Snugborough Trading Estate.
If you run a small business or just need more room in the back, Philshaw Vehicles has the perfect van or light commercial for all your needs and can sort out any finance. Based in the Tremode Estate, view philshawvehicles.im or call 49 51 49.
A great night's sleep got even better with Zed's Bedding Store. From quality Bell-Dorm bed linen and mattress protectors, fleece and woven throws to luxury duvets from the fine bedding company, Zed's Bedding Ramsey, next to Isle of Man Bank.
SMS Trading have moved to 3 St Paul's Square, Ramsey. For flat pack to fully built, new or second-hand furniture, SMS Trading offer all island delivery and man in a van service. Call 315151 or find SMS Trading on Facebook.
At Begode Cachery, we have been caring for animals for over 50 years. As a cachery, we care for customers' cats and treat them as our own. Contact Begode Cachery on 676 947 or find Begode Cachery on Facebook.
You're listening to the Isle of Man's quintessential daily news and current affairs roundup. Update on Manx Radio.
And the time now is 5:05. The island's breast clinics are to be reinstated from next week. Manx Care says it's secured a locum radiologist to assist the service from Tuesday, the 22nd of April. The move is in response to the previous locum taking an unplanned absence. The temporary interruption to the service led to Health Minister Claire Christian facing an emergency question in the House of Keys. This report now from Simon Richardson.
The Health Service has confirmed patient lists are being reviewed and the team will be calling patients to confirm that their referral has been received. In the meantime, anybody experiencing any worsening or new symptoms since their referral is asked to contact their GP practice. The previous locum began an unplanned short-term absence on the 31st of March, which was expected to last 4 weeks. Initially, around 30 patients were impacted by disruption to the breast clinic services. Some were left unsure when their urgent referrals would be dealt with. For further queries or more information and symptom advice, you can contact the breast care nurse on 650 194 or MCALS on 642 642.
Simon Richardson there, and you can find all those details over at manxradio.com as well. Now, the Isle of Man could reach its long-term tourism target earlier than expected. Visit Isle of Man says it's on course and may even surpass its goal of attracting 500,000 visitors annually by 2032. A renewed marketing campaign launched late last summer focused on the island's unique stories, culture and folklore. And this year, a series of major anniversaries is expected to drive further interest. Chief Executive Deborah Heather says those milestones create a real opportunity to boost the visitor economy.
To be honest, the island is pretty much undiscovered. That's been half the opportunity for us. It's a new place to come to. We've got Southern Europe that's boiling hot at the moment and people don't want to travel.
So your predecessors have been missing opportunities?
I think that's a harsh thing to say. I just think the timing's right for us and we've got lots of opportunities out there. People travel in a different way post-COVID now. They want opportunities closer to home, more convenient opportunities, and actually cooler ones are more attractive. Cool travel is cool.
130 years, I think, the Snaefell Mountain Railway. Is that going to be a draw?
It's going to be a draw, and this year is the 200th anniversary of all railways, so it's a massive thing for us to try and promote to lots of different types of rail enthusiasts. So it's not unique to us, but we have our own celebrations of various different things, and it's always a draw. Our rail is always a draw for our visitors.
How much do you rely on the weather?
As locals, we can be very focused on our weather. And one of the things, when we had the Guild of Travel Writers here last year, I got the guys at the weather station to come and give us figures. And actually, we're not any wetter or drier than Manchester or Glasgow or Dublin. In fact, we're drier than some of those. And Liverpool, we were compared favourably to Amsterdam in terms of wind. So I think it's something we build up in our own head where we talk about our weather, because it's not different than it is in the Lake District.
I think we've got to a target so far of 320,000. Is it? What are we aiming for this year?
Well, we've actually just got our numbers in for 2024. It was 330,000, which is
it's up 10,000.
Yes, exactly.
What's this year? What are you aiming for?
This year we're kind of playing it safe a little bit. We're looking for spend rather than actual more extra visitors. But we're very much focusing on what the long term and building the momentum up in the off season and the shoulder seasons.
That's the Chief Executive of Visit Isle of Man, Deborah Heather, speaking to Manx Radio's John Moss there. It's coming up to 5:10.
You're listening to the Isle of Man's quintessential daily news and current affairs roundup. Update on Manx Radio.
And we'll turn our attention to the local authority elections next week. A candidate standing for Peel Commissioners wants to see more transparency and would try and improve the social media pages. William Otieno Costain, a business owner, says if elected, he would also like to review the business rates in the town and lobby the government to raise rates on empty properties.
You only get to complain about how things are for so long before you actually kind of have to stand up and start doing something about it. I want to get out there and actually improve things, not just complain about why they're not getting better.
What are the key things on your manifesto that you'd like people to know?
Helping bring some of the transparency and communication, specifically the work of the commissioners in Peel. So that's making sure that some of the day-to-day business stuff of keeping notes updated and making sure budgets and accounts are published, but also wider things about what the commissioners are trying to achieve and how to get in contact with them reliably and what information they need to be able to come and help you or move things out of your way when you're trying to do things. Because Peel is full of people trying to do things for their local community. I also want to work on supporting local businesses. Michael Street in Peel is looking pretty sad at the minute. There's a lot of shops that have closed down and moved on. And I want to make sure that barriers to entry for new people coming in with new ideas is as low as possible so that it's a place people think that that's where you start and then you find where you want to go from there. Because I think that's important for a little town and it's such a special place. And I don't want it to end up being where you live and then you drive to Douglas for everything because that would be sad. I want to work on some of the long-term vision for Peel. There's a lot of big things that are going to start happening, and I feel like it's important the local authority has a plan for itself and the people in Peel beyond just constantly reacting to what people around them and other parts of the island are trying to do.
That's William Otieno Costain standing for Peel Commissioners. The other candidates are Katrina Baptist, Frank Crompton, Alistair Cubban-Wood, Stuart Hardingham, Ray Harmer, Sharon Lambert and Christine Muckton. It's 11 minutes past 5. A recent addition to the Tynwald Youth Select Committee says it's an opportunity to contribute to meaningful change. After focusing on housing issues, the committee is now turning its attention to investigating support for life after school. They'll hear evidence from experts and politicians and before putting forward a report to Tynwald. Recent graduate Scarlett Clegg says she's excited to advocate for her peers.
Our investigation is for support on island for life after school, and we chose to investigate this because I think that this period is such a crucial time and transition for young people, and we kind of decided that ensuring the right opportunities are in place is so important for both personal success but also the success of the island. And we also took some data from something called the Make Your Mark campaign, which was a youth engagement initiative which was organised by the UK House of Commons. And it was across the overseas territories and the Crown dependencies. And we found through looking at that data that students in the island's high schools placed a significance important on employment and access to university and apprenticeships. So that's kind of what made us go in that direction. And as well, we had that element of relatability as well and first-hand perspective because the committee is composed entirely of young people. So we've got GCSE and A-level students, we've got an undergraduate degree apprentice, and I myself, I'm a graduate. So I think that element of relatability also will help the inquiry and the topics we'll be exploring, which may ordinarily have been absent from other select committees.
That's Scarlett Clegg, a recent graduate there from the Tynwald Youth Select Committee.
Manx Radio Travel, driven by Quayside Tyres and Service Centre.
And we're going to start over on the roads. Richmond Hill has now reopened, of course, following that collision earlier today. The mountain road is closed from Ramsey to the Bungalow for TT preparation work. Businesses on the mountain are still open as normal. Also this week, there's temporary lights at the bottom end of the mountain road between Cronknamona and Signpost Corner for meter replacement work. In Douglas, the planned works on the new Castletown Road were postponed yesterday because of the bad weather. That work will now take place this evening. The road's set to close in both directions between Quarterbridge and the NSC track entrance from 6 o'clock. So in around 45 minutes' time, the work is expected to be finished before midnight. As a result, the work planned for Braddon Bridge tonight will now take place tomorrow evening instead. Meanwhile, in Crosby, temporary lights on the main road for work on the street lights there and temporary lights above the village on the Mount Rule Road, 24 hours a day for wall repairs. And in Ramsey until the 12th of May, temporary lights at the Bowering Road / Jerby Road junction, 24 hours a day for gas main work. Off island travel now, and no problem over at the airport tonight. On the sailings, Manxman will be arriving back from Heysham in around an hour's time. Manannan's on her way to Liverpool. There's a warning though that due to the late departure from Belfast earlier today, that was due to another vessel using the steam packet's berth. The return voyage back to Douglas, due to depart at 7:15, will now leave Liverpool at 8 o'clock. Passengers are asked to check in no later than 7:15.
Ask how you can spread the cost interest-free at Quayside. You're listening to the Isle of Man's quintessential daily news and current affairs roundup. Update on Manx Radio.
And it's 5:15. An independent report commissioned by government has recommended the establishment of a new not-for-profit housing entity to take on the landlord functions currently managed by the Department of Infrastructure. The report, carried out by specialist consultants Altair at a cost of £79,000, suggests the new body should have responsibility for developing feasible social and affordable housing solutions for Isle of Man residents, including suitable housing for key workers and measures to deal with homelessness. The intention, as stated in the report, is to have management functions operating before the end of this month. Simon Richardson's back with this report.
Improving the affordability and availability of housing is one of the core principles of government's Our Island Plan strategy. Infrastructure Minister Dr Michelle Haywood will clarify the government's position in the wake of the Altair report at this month's sitting of Tynwald. The report was carried out over a 3-month period last year and involved consultations with relevant bodies on island. Altair says that the new entity would assume management of the Ballacurn House Trust stock, which comprises 32 properties for older people, and plan new homes and stock investment programmes. A roadmap of how the housing entity could grow over the next 5 years is included in the report, covering transfer of ownership of the DOI stock, building of new homes, and provision of services to other housing providers.
Simon Richardson with that report. In sport now, ahead of their first ever Women's World Cup qualifiers next month, the Isle of Man women's national cricket team face an exciting challenge on the other side of Europe this Easter weekend. They'll face Cyprus, Denmark and Jersey in a 4-game series in Cyprus from Friday to Sunday. Isle of Man captain Alanya Thorpe says the squad is relishing the chance to take on top opposition.
I think we're particularly excited about this. Everybody's put the work in over winter, and when you put lots of work in over winter, you're always desperate to get out on the pitch and put everything that you've worked hard on into practice in a game situation. So to have 6 games to play over Easter weekend, there's plenty of opportunity to put everything into practice, go and play some of our best cricket and put ourselves to the test.
You're going to have 2 players making their international debut as well. You've got Georgie Ford and Lola Hornby-Wheeler joining the squad for the first time. So how good an opportunity will it be for them to experience this kind of environment?
I'm absolutely delighted for Georgie and Lola that they've been given the chance to come along to Cyprus and made their way into the squad at 15. That's very impressive. We're excited to have them. I'm sure they're excited to be given the opportunity to potentially get out on the pitch. And I think they're an example of what we've got coming through. You know, Greg and Sally, everyone who's worked with Isle of Man cricket have worked so hard on the programmes for the girls and young players. We haven't played any of the 3 teams that were playing over Easter weekend. We haven't played Cyprus, Denmark or Jersey. We know that they are all strong sides. They will all come with their challenges, but one-sided cricket is quite dull. It's far more entertaining when you've got good sides to play against and see how you hold up against them. We'll go out there with a view of playing our absolute best cricket. We want to win games. We know we've got what it takes within our squad.
And of course, there's something very exciting coming up in May. For the first time, you're heading into the ICC Women's World Cup qualifiers. So how much will this tournament act as preparation potentially for that next month?
I think we're beyond excited about what the opportunities we've been given this summer with Isle of Man cricket. I mean, gosh, some of us have only been playing for 2 or 3 years, so to be getting up on an international stage like that in the coming months is going to be incredible.
That's Alania Thorpe there, the Isle of Man captain for the Isle of Man women's national cricket team. Now we'll bring you some breaking news from government just in regarding measures to prevent the spread of foot and mouth disease. Siobhan Fletcher joins us in the studio. Fasamai, Siobhan.
Fasamai, Lewis. You might have heard earlier in one of the bulletins about this new ban from bringing meat and cheese back from Europe. It's been introduced across the UK, and the Isle of Man government has now confirmed we are following suit here in a bid to protect the Manx agricultural industry from the potentially devastating disease. What it means is that travellers will no longer be able to bring cattle, sheep, goat and pig meat, as well as dairy products from the EU and the European Economic Area countries into Great Britain or the Isle of Man for personal use. And yes, that includes airport sandwiches and duty-free purchases. The move follows recent outbreaks in several European countries, including Germany and Hungary. There are currently no cases of foot and mouth in the British Isles, and these measures will continue to protect the health of livestock, the security of farmers and the island's food security. The island's chief veterinary officer, Dr. Amy Beckett, has said, "These enhanced restrictions are a crucial step in protecting our agricultural industry. I would urge livestock keepers to exercise the utmost vigilance for signs of the disease, follow strict biosecurity measures and report any suspicions to DEFRA immediately."
Siobhan Fletcher, thank you. That just in from government regarding foot and mouth disease. You can see all those details shortly over at manxradio.com.
You're listening to the Isle of Man's quintessential daily news and current affairs roundup. Update on Manx Radio.
And it's 20 minutes past 5. FC Isle of Man has announced first team manager Paul Jones will remain in post for next season. Following a poor run of results in 2025, the club's chairman, Jill Christian, and vice chairman, Lee Dixon, explained the decision to stick with Jones going forward.
As a board, we met with Paul this week, had a really helpful discussion. We obviously shared our disappointment with him in terms of the league position, and he obviously is also disappointed, but we've talked about his plans for the future and we're confident that he can turn that around. So, the board's decision was that we've got every confidence that we need to stick with Paul, and that, for the club and the players, that stability is the way forward.
I had a couple of conversations, long conversations with Paul prior to the board, us meeting, and I think the main thing for me that came out of it was, albeit we're not happy, the fans aren't happy where we are in the league, Paul and the players aren't happy. Let's remember that. It's been a tough season. At Christmas, we were right where we wanted to be. We were in the playoffs and everything was heading in the right direction. And for many reasons that are outside of everybody's control, through lack of availability, injuries, the amount of travel we have to commit to, we just feel that we're not a million miles away, and maybe with a little bit more luck at the right times of the season, we could be in a very different position. That said, I think the open and frank discussions we've had is, I think Paul recognises that maybe we have to tweak our style of play slightly. I obviously, as I have to in my role as director of football, I spoke to a lot of the players to get feedback from them, and it was unanimous from the players' side that they want Paul in charge, and obviously that has to be a factor in driving our decision.
It's no normal club. Is travel and the commitment on the players and the strain, and the fact that we're in a limited pool of players as well. So I think we've got to be patient with the manager and the players to help them to get it right. I think we've really overestimated how well we can do, and I think we've had a bit of a reality check. That's not to say we don't want to do better. Of course we do, and we should be doing better, and we're capable of doing better. The next thing now, Lee will go away and have a chat with him, and then we'll set our expectations.
That's FC Isle of Man's chairman Jill Christian and vice chairman Lee Dixon there, talking to Rob Pritchard about the announcement that Paul Jones will be staying on as first team manager for next season. Now, the music of the Bee Gees is set to get an orchestral overhaul next month. The concert will be one of 3 events performed by the Untold Orchestra, who will be appearing in Port Erin and Peel over 3 nights in May. Project officer Susie Walker and Callum Rowe, the council's graduate intern, spoke to Howard Kane.
An orchestral rendition featuring guest vocalists, so bringing all sorts of instruments that you'd expect to see in an orchestra and reimagining some of the songs that you know really well from Disney and the Bee Gees and Amy Winehouse.
Disney, that's got to be great. I mean, doing all the Disney classics.
Yeah, amazing. And the variety of classics that are in the Disney repertoire, broad and really popular. So we hope everyone will get on board with coming to see this orchestrated rendition of Disney at the Centenary Centre on Friday. It should be a really fun night. And what a lovely venue. And I think an orchestra in there will just absolutely sing.
It's brilliant. And doing numbers from, I think, they're listening to The Lion King, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, and goodness knows how many more. So it's going to be something, I suppose that's a very much family-orientated one. That's sort of music for all, really.
Yeah, I suppose it's music for all, with obviously Disney films being very kind of family-oriented in the first place. But it is still going to be a full performance, a full gig. So it's going to be something you can definitely bring your kids to, but it's not specifically for children.
And then the one after that, we have, this has got a fantastic Manx link, because this is concluding the series with the music of the Bee Gees at Peel Cathedral, nonetheless. What a cracking setting for it.
This one's really special because the Isle of Man Arts Council have actually commissioned them to do the music of the Bee Gees. They don't have this in their repertoire normally, so
this is unique.
Unique and premiered on the Isle of Man, which is obviously, home of the Bee Gees. A really exciting venue that has had the Moon this year, and then we're supporting it with this gig, which should be fabulous in that space.
And we'll end the programme tonight with a look at the latest sporting news. So say fast and my to Manx Radio sports editor Rob Pritchard.
Fast and my Lewis. Starting today with motorsport, John McGuinness will be first away in the 1000cc classes at this year's Isle of Man TT races. The 23-time TT winner has been given the number 1 plate for the second year running as the top 20 seeded riders in the big bike classes are announced. There's a change at number 2 with David Johnson second in line, whilst Dean Harrison retains his place at number 3. Jamie Coward moves back 2 places from last year to number 4, whilst Michael Dunlop, Davy Todd and Peter Hickman retain their respective positions at numbers 6, 8 and 10 respectively. James Hillier at number 5 and Dominic Herbertson at number 13 are yet to be confirmed as to their plans in the senior, superbike and super stock categories following the road racing cancellations of WTF We're the Future Racing. And Josh Brooks at number 7 and Mike Brown at number 9 complete the top 10, with the latter into the top 10 seeds for the first time and representing MLAV Racing. Elsewhere, with regards to the TT, changes are being made to how teams are seeded, or should I say not seeded, in the sidecar class at this year's Isle of Man TT. Unlike other classes at the 2025 event, organisers have confirmed sidecar crews will not be seeded, but will instead run in the order based on where they position in qualifying. This comes as the opening top 10 numbers for three-wheeled teams for this year's event have been revealed. At number 1 are last year's defending double champions Manx duo Ryan and Callum Crowe. Peter Founds and Jevon Walmsley are just bound at number 2, whilst 14-time TT winner Ben Birchall is at number 3 with a new passenger in Patrick Rosney.
Rob Pritchard, Gurmayed. That's it for Update tonight. Thank you for joining us. Howard is here next with Spotlight, and Chris Kinley is back at 6 o'clock with Greatest Hits. So stay tuned for that and have a great evening. Update will be back at the same time tomorrow.